When someone mentions urban legends, what's the first thing you think of? I know for me, I imagine age-old tales, creatures with hooves and horns, maybe some ghosts and witches that eat children, you know, that sort of thing. But there is another kind of urban legend, a more modern kind. Monsters that don't hide under beds but behind screens. Stories so strange, specific, and more often than not confused that they could only have been created by young minds, determined by the dizzyingly exciting prospect that they could find darkness in spaces deemed colourful and safe. This phenomena isn't uncommon. Hell, have you ever wondered why horror games like Five Nights at Freddy's, which honestly have pretty upsetting and gruesome stories, are so popular among kids? There's even a whole subgenre of kids horror games that fit this description. It's because kids love ghost stories. When I was younger, my waking hours were spent feverishly consuming any media I could find that I knew I would regret come nighttime. If scaring myself was profitable, I'd be way into my retirement by now. And if I drank water before bed and woke up with the urge, I'd frankly rather pee all up on my lovely next home twit-twoo night owl bedsheet than brave the dark hallway to my bathroom. I knew that the combined forces of Herobrine, Slenderman, and Golden Freddy were waiting to jump me. It'll probably come as no surprise that when I found stories that combined my interest of colourful MMO games with horrors beyond my comprehension, it was like sitting down at the feast in Spirited Away. You know, except I guess that I wasn't gonna turn into a pig. Some of these games included Webkins, Roblox, Minecraft, hell, even Movie Star Planet had its own ghost haunting the servers. But none of these were heavy hitters for me. There was one game that I spent more time on than the rest combined. You could probably guess, it's in the title. Yeah, I'm talking about Mushy Monster. Animal Jam is a colourful online game where you become your favourite animal and explore the ancient lands of Jamaa. It was a pretty typical game of its era with bold, unique visuals synonymous with the early 2000s. It had a wide range of customization options so you could swag out your animals and den and be the coolest Jamaa in the Jamasphere. It also had a limited chat room where you could get adopted by member Arctic wolves who, if you were really lucky, might give you some of their rares. But you clicked on the video, you probably know this already. However, were you aware that beyond Serepia's detailed and convoluted warrior cat roleplays, there might have been something else waiting to sink its claws into you? Was that a good segue? Animal Jam isn't exempt from a little spook or two. From hackers and haunted accounts to supposedly dead jammers and dark servers that were never meant to break past the beta stages of the game, Animal Jam has its own roster of dark secrets, well hidden yet waiting to be uncovered. It begs the question, are any of these urban legends actually real? And is there any truth to these stories, or are they just fantasies cooked up by overactive imaginations? Where did they come from, and well, why do they exist? Today we're going to explore a few hand-picked and unusual finds that made me ask the question, can Animal Jam be scary? So, switch the lights off, grab a hot tea, get comfy, and stick around to the end. Because while AJ itself is pretty old, some of these stories are new. You might even find a ghost or two in the game if you played in 2026. Now, if you've been on Animal Jam for a while, this one might sound familiar. You're probably aware of beta accounts. These were users that were created in the beta testing phases of Animal Jam. Identifiable traits of beta accounts include being non-member and wearing items that are member-only, like top hats. Another identifiable trait of a beta account would be their usually unique and nowadays completely unattainable usernames. In 2016, YouTuber Julian2 was sent a message by a user ThatOldBarnXX that they'd found something strange when looking up old beta accounts out of boredom. They started by looking up the user Trading, who was a black koala with X'd out eyes. Nothing super out of the ordinary, but if you go to Trading's den, you'll notice the word zero has been half spelled out with koala plushies, and there's a den portal above it. If you enter the den portal, it'll take you to Zero's den. It's pretty unassuming at first, but if you head to the corner of Zero's den, you'll find a gravestone with a plushy koala in front of it. There's a glitch in the den that prevents you from viewing Zero's player profile when you click on their name in the corner of the den, and if you try to search for the name Zero, the player can't be found. This is pretty odd, but Animal Jam can be glitchy at the best of times. However, things get stranger still. If you look up the username 2, you'll see the same koala as Trading. Inside 2's den is a portal that's been deactivated. If you search for the user 3, you'll find the same koala again. In their den is the same portal, in the same place, leading once again to Zero's den. The exact same thing happens when searching the users 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then with a few seemingly random yet ominous words like adventure, den, temple, and truth. Some people speculated at the time that if you found all of the accounts linked to Zero and strung together all of the words and numbers, it might give you some sort of secret message or code. So at this point, the whole story is bizarre and just doesn't make a lot of sense. People at the time came to the same conclusion, that this was one person who'd made lots of linked accounts, but they wondered why. Well, shortly after the Zero account gained a lot of traction, an anonymous user posted to Google Plus that Zero was related to this account named Blankets. The story goes like this. A long time ago, Zero and Blankets had been close friends, but sadly and abruptly, Blankets had died of some unknown cause. In her despair, Zero left Animal Jam, but not before claiming multiple accounts and setting up a tribute of sorts to her lost friend. Now, at this point, this was speculation. The story doesn't answer all of our questions. For example, why would Zero write her own name on the trading account? And why would the tribute be a koala representing Zero and not whatever animal Blankets was? This wasn't all though, as there was also a popular rumor at the time that if you stood next to the koala plushie for, however long, your game would crash. The myth of Zero is pretty spooky, and if we left it at that, I'd say this one probably would have had a good chance of scaring me, but that's not where it ends. Since the story gained popularity, the player behind the account Zero came forward on the account Legendary, which is pretty fitting, and she revealed the real story behind this strange account. Zero tells us that Blankets was actually a hacker that destroyed her main account, Zero, and she was so upset by this that she created a shrine for her old account shortly before being banned by Blankets. It's a pretty anticlimactic end to a big conspiracy, but there was a period of time when this was a proper Animal Jam ghost story. I think it's important to note though that this rumor was a big enough deal at the time that it had people swarming Zero's den, theorizing and adding unknowns onto the story. This got to the point where Zero felt the need to make a video addressing it, so that people would just leave her in peace. So kind of a cautionary tale about like speculation and I don't know, people just got a little bit crazy with it, I guess. Poor Zero, or Legendary. So yeah, no ghosts in this story, but maybe a killer, because like the killers, Zero never thought she'd let a rumor ruin her life. The Lost Jamaa is one of Animal Jam's most infamous cryptids. If you were on AJ back in its golden days and you looked up Lost Jamaa in the buddy search, you would see this black wolf with wide dotted eyes. A popular rumor at the time was that the Lost Jamaa account was co-owned by another player with the username Decompose1. This was never proven, and it's likely that Decompose1 and all of the other accounts it spawned were just Jammers trying to imitate old Losty to cause a bit of spooky mayhem. There isn't one set story for who the Lost Jamaa is or what they do. There are, however, a lot of creepypastas and theories. Some say that they're a hacker or a discrepancy caused by a glitch in the game code. If you look up Lost Jamaa on YouTube, you'll probably find summoning videos, not dissimilar to when people would try and summon Herobrine to their Minecraft worlds using netherrack and gold blocks. Except this time it was tiki torches and drain covers. If you search for the Lost Jamaa on Animal Jam nowadays though, you won't find anything, implying that the account was deactivated or banned. It's pretty spooky. It's pretty spooky. Why did I say it like that? It's pretty spooky stuff. But who was this guy? Well, no one's really sure. After the account was deactivated, AJHQ claimed the username and started using it in promotional videos for Night of the Phantoms. Just as a side note, I would never have found this out if it wasn't for Keck being like an Animal Jam historian. Seriously, they've covered everything that's happened on this game ever. So if you want to go and watch a much better video than mine, you should go and watch Keck because they've already covered. Stop hitting the microphone. Okay, so I personally remember hearing about this theory when I was little, and I remember even at the time thinking, yeah, this is really stupid. Basically, the story Extinction goes as follows. Legend has it that the reason animals come to Animal Jam is because they were at one point massacred and are dead, and that Jamaa is some sort of afterlife. This ties into the Heartstones, and if you're well versed in Animal Jam lore, you probably know this, but each species has their own Heartstone protected by the alphas. If that species' Heartstone becomes lost or damaged, that species will disappear from Jamaa. So in this theory, it's thought that the Heartstones reanimate the species of animal and keep them safe in Jamaa in some kind of post-death state. I don't know, it kind of implies some sort of like catastrophic event happening to every species ever, because it means that like all of the species die at once to come to Jamaa in like a massive herd. I don't know, this one really it tickles me, it's very silly. There's also this excerpt from AJ Fandom, which I think is awesome. So I'm gonna read it out. The Animal Massacre. Legend has it that the reason animals are added to Animal Jam every year is because they were massacred at one point. It's unclear if the Phantoms had done it or if another unknown animal did. I'm gonna burp. Oh, animals that come to Animal Jam were animals that accepted the massacre. For instance, flamingos came to Animal Jam years after they were first murdered. Before Animal Jam started. They either forgot about the murders or they accepted it and wanted to become part of the community again. Some animals may not ever return to Animal Jam, such as lizards. Lizards were mass hunted in the closed beta of Animal Jam. That's why there's a den beta of them, but you can't actually be one. The old players knew what they did was wrong, so they created a lizard plushie to show their mistake. Actually, it's a gecko. I'm not gonna lie, this one is confusing and also feels a little bit lazy. It raises more questions than it answers. Like, if the animals come to Jamaa when their species go extinct, does this mean that they all die at the same time? I know I already said that, but that's really bothering me. Not to mention trying to tie it in with Animal Jam's already convoluted lore, which I am absolutely not going to get into right now because I think I might go into a brain coma. A brain coma? As opposed to what? A regular coma? What that happens to everywhere but your brain? What is going on? Let's move away from early Animal Jam conspiracies and into some of the game's newer haunts. If you've been an active player between 2025 and 2026, you might have heard of this one. I'd first heard of Creepy Eyes 1 through my buddies. People were getting strange jamograms with necklaces and ominous messages, and then I started seeing players popping up looking like this. Something was catching on, and at one point whole servers were just blacking out their animals and wearing necklaces in an ode to this guy's look. But what is their story? If you know where to look, the internet is teeming with ARGs. These are alternate reality games, fictional stories that present as reality and unfold in real time. If we go to Creepy's TikTok page, we can start putting together pieces of the puzzle. The first video is pretty cute. Some jammers visit Creepy's den and dance. The text above says, "Had visitors today. We talked and danced." And then below that, "I'm so cold. I don't know how to get out." But what does that mean? Get out of where? We're led to believe that Creepy is trapped somewhere, but there's not really a lot of information at this point. Then we get a few more videos with Creepy making similar statements. Creepy is trapped somewhere cold without sunlight and wants out. Then after a while we get this one, which gives us some new information. The text reads, "Was detained today. Didn't like what I had to say. When will they let me outside again? My eyes burn from looking at the screen, but I can't look away. Help me." It seems like Creepy is using their platform as a sort of diary. They appear to be trapped somewhere, and the use of "they" and "detained" makes me think that this could be some sort of facility. "My eyes burn from looking at the screen" also sounds significant. It makes me wonder if Creepy is being forced to play Animal Jam. And if so, why do they imply it's somewhat torturous? Like, we love the jam, what's going on here? After that, they let Creepy go outside, but now Creepy feels even more sick. Then we get our first hidden messages. This is where things start to get really fun. The text reads, "I thought if I could show I'd changed, they'd let me leave, but now they see I'm even more sick." Then we get more Morse code with Animal Jam videos, then this. A bunch of Creepy Eyes style jammers sit around a magenta wolf with the text, "Imposter, imposter, imposter," and the code, "Being myself was never enough. I'm sorry I failed you. They are going to sedate me and fix me soon." Things start to pick up again, ripped from the path I tried to traverse. The change is soon. Are you ready? After that, a real video showing someone walking down a hallway. "It is the determiner of my future." Creepy is taking a test. Change is coming, but what change? Following this, Creepy disappears for a little while, then returns with this comic. It pictures Creepy escaping an institution, being pursued by unseen people shouting in French. After this, Creepy starts talking in French along with Morse code, which is fitting because French people are scary. Then we get this. Creepy standing next to statues of similar animals, only this time the necklaces are different. Do these mannequins represent someone Creepy knows? The text reads, "Can you hear me, or do I call upon deaf ears?" Then, "Don't tell the Durapia rattle anything," and "I escaped." I don't know what Durapia means. I think maybe it's supposed to say Serapia, and I mistranslated it, but who knows? Am I gonna check it? Maybe. Creepy says, "I found somewhere to hide, but the fight is not over." Then, in French, "I am tired." Then, and this is my favorite part, we get real letters in real life mode. December 15th, 2025. "I have been out of Wellsbury for 5 days now. I have found some paper. I will use it to record my journey, no matter how long it takes. I'm hungry. I should arrive at a village tomorrow to get clothes and food. I hope they don't recognize me. They told the news that they thought it was me. I didn't want to hurt anyone. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get out." A day later, Creepy writes another letter. This time, it's mostly in English. 16th of December 2025. "They saw me. I ran. Got bread. Got a jacket from the side of the road. It has holes in it, but it helps. I think I need to find a new hiding place tomorrow. I do not know if they can find me. I saw my parents on window TV. It had been so long that I almost forgot their visage. Dad looks so... I do not know if I'm welcome. At the time of recording this is where the trail runs dry. Creepy Eyes 1 appears to be a character who exists within Animal Jam but also has a real life counterpart. I'm not sure whether Creepy is human or an animal. I mean, in their letters it comes across that they're a person from details like the jacket, mention of parents, and well, the fact that these are written letters. In these letters, Creepy draws themselves as the Animal Jam Sabretooth, so maybe this is just how this person views themselves, or maybe there's more to it. So we know there's some kind of institution, Wellsbury, which tries to keep Creepy sedated. It's unclear what Wellsbury's intentions are. The story is told from Creepy's perspective, so we're made to feel like Wellsbury are the villains, but this could also be because Creepy is an unreliable narrator, especially when we get details like, I didn't want to hurt anyone, I am sorry, I just wanted to get out. The story is giving me like crazy heavy SCP vibes, and while at the moment the story provides more questions than answers, it's super fun to discover more details as it unfolds. Okay, so my personal theory is that Wellsbury are keeping Creepy, who is a real person, in some kind of Ready Player One style digital world, which just happens to be Animal Jam, to contain them for some reason, as Creepy is too dangerous or unstable to be kept in the real world. Player Live Analytic and Test Environment System, used in the beta stages of Animal Jam. These were NPCs that never made it past the beta stages of the game. The objective of these characters was simple: sit in low traffic areas and respond to bubble chat triggers to simulate new user interaction. These characters could walk about, but not trade or communicate outside of bubble chat. Overall, they were pretty limited. Animal Jam didn't need these characters when the game launched for obvious reasons, and they were removed from the game. But something remains. The Dogplates glitched, remaining idle but somehow seemingly aware. If you're lucky enough to spot plates in game, you might see this. Spooky, right? You're probably wondering how something this significant slips through the cracks into the main game. Well, it doesn't. But oh my god, I wish it did. Like Creepy Eyes 1, Dogplates is an ARG, and oh my gosh, do I love this story. If you were active on AJ in early 2025, you could very well have seen Dogplates at some point, front-facing and staring into absolutely nothing. Dogplates' story is simple, which is why I think it works so well. He lets you draw your own conclusions as to what he is, and if you were one of the players who weren't aware of his presence and just ran into him randomly in game, well, I mean, it's an experience to say the least. The Dogplates character oozes with spooky EXE game creepypasta vibes. There's something almost sad about him, which I think really sells the appeal of this character. He's a bit unusual, but never malicious. The only thing he ever does is just sit there, staring. I guess AJ's urban legends aren't all half-cooked blog articles. Some of these stories show that a lot of effort and genuine creativity have gone into them, and I really wanted to highlight that in this video. Animal Jam isn't as huge as it once was, and I think it's really important that we have niche little corners of the community like this. It's really fun to theorize and just sort of have these shared experiences. But let me know what you think. I'd love to know if you guys have had any encounters of your own with Animal Jam's cryptids, or are you still waiting for the time where you might log in and find something unusual in your Jamagrams? There are so many Animal Jam ghost stories, and you've probably noticed that I've left out a few fairly obvious ones. That's because I wanted to talk about a couple of less known creatures because Animal Jam is still active and there's still new things happening. If you don't play currently and maybe clicked on this video because it pulled on those nostalgia levers at the back of your brain, maybe just give Animal Jam a try again. Make some buddies in the juice hut and then go and explore. It can still be fun, I promise. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to let me know because I'd be more than happy to make a part 2. I don't know if you could tell, but I really like this sort of thing. Okay, and I'm gonna go spin the wheel for my pink long giveaway now, so I'll say goodbye to you guys who are gonna skip that bit. So see you later, bye, ciao, ciao bella, arrivederci. Does that mean goodbye? Are they gone? All right, spinners, let's go spin the freaking thing. Let's go spin the wheel thing. Who could it land on? Could be you, could be me. It's not gonna be me, but let's spin it.